What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. So in this particular episode, everybody, we're going to talk about why I think you should consider a career in the blue collar industries and or learning a trade. And it's very interesting because a lot of people, for whatever reason, particularly in this particularly in this YouTube space that we live in where we talk about finance, a lot of people in the college world, in the white collar world, and on YouTube and in the financial world, they want to belittle the importance of blue collar men and blue collar women and people who basically learn trades and go to trade school. And I don't do that on my channel, period. I don't look down on guys that are blue collar. I don't look down on electricians. I don't look down on plumbers. I don't look down on carpenters. I don't do that. At the end of the day, people, there are a lot of benefits that people don't quite realize as far as why you should learn a trade. And I will not, nor will I ever belittle individuals who learn trades. And I honestly think that a lot more Americans need to be doing it because let's be real, college is not for everybody. I am a 20-year practicing mechanical engineer. I am very good. I've always made very good grades in my life. I like to talk finance. I like to talk about Roth IRAs, REITs, index funds, and things of that nature. But I'm literally blown away at the amount of people who want to belittle the importance of blue collar workers and on learning the trades. And I don't do that once again on my channel. So for this particular channel, guys, we're going to talk about, for this particular episode, rather, everyone, we're going to talk about why I think you should consider a career as a blue collar worker, because let's face it, not everybody wants to be a lawyer. Not everybody wants to be a doctor. Not everybody wants to learn. Not everybody wants to go to medical school and things of that nature. Not everybody wants to be a teacher. Some people basically want to be working in the field. Some people want to be a blue collar worker. And for this particular episode, we're going to talk about that. 14 reasons why I think you should learn a trade. First and foremost, the skilled labor is in extreme demand right now, and it's always been. If people don't realize, based on you get a useless college degree in certain majors that I won't name, how hard it is for you to get a job. Do you realize right now, people, there are jobs in America that start off at $75,000 where you don't have to speak English, and literally they are begging people to join them. Plumbers, carpenters, electricians, elevator operators, mechanic operators, heavy equipment specialists. These are the type of jobs pretty much that never go away, and we don't have enough people to basically fill them. So I'll give you an example. The unemployment rate right now for an electrician is under 3%, according to the U.S. News and Money. The unemployment rate for a steam fitter in America right now is under 3%. The unemployment rate for a plumber in America, for a union plumber, for a licensed plumber, is under 4% in America today. And the unemployment rate for carpenters is under 2%, according to U.S. News and Money report, at the time that I'm filming this in 2022. So essentially, people, once you learn a trade, you are literally never unemployed, ever. And there is a serious shortage right now for skilled labor in the United States of America. Option number two, the income potential is flat out enormous. One of the things that has always kind of surprised me is that people will say people who go to college are smart and people who learn a trade are dumb. That's essentially the nonsense that people try to tell our college students and our high school grads, our men and women today, when they're considering whether they should go to college or whether they should go to trade school. And it's so stupid to me because if you actually realized, one, how intelligent you have to be to learn a trade, for one, and then two, the amount of money you can possibly make if you get very good at what you do, it's insane. So for instance, I know construction superintendents who command over $1 million a year pretty much as a salary. And that's as a starting sign. That's not including whether or not they make their, whether or not they basically bring their products in on time and ahead of schedule. So if you're willing to travel, you can easily, and once again, I'm gonna say this, if you're willing to travel, if you're a licensed electrician, a licensed elevator operator, or a licensed plumber or carpenter, you can easily make well over $300,000 in 1 year. For comparison's sake, less than 20% of doctors make over $200,000 a year, according to national labor statistics. Less than 10% of lawyers make over $200,000 a year, according to the same national labor statistics. And less than 5% of engineers make over $200,000 a year. Many states, however, all it takes is you for 7 years and you can become a master electrician, a master plumber, a master steam fitter, a master carpenter, and so forth. And a master at any of those trades I just got to name makes over $100,000 a year. So once again, very few college degrees pay over $100K after 7 years after you graduate. So it's amazing to me the amount of income that you can make pretty much being a licensed electrician or a licensed plumber or a licensed steam fitter. But a lot of Americans just they flat out don't know this kind of stuff. So for instance, I'll give you an example. Let's say you work in Philly or New York or whatever, right? A state with strong unions and basically where they train their employees and you're very, very, very good at what you do. Say you're a master electrician. You can easily make over $100,000 in 6 months working in New York City or in Boston during the summertime. You can then transfer to Florida or transfer out to California and make another $100,000 pretty much working during the winters in New York and in Boston. So in 1 year, you can literally make over $200,000 easily. So this is kind of stuff that people, I want you guys to start thinking about. Never poo-poo a guy that you see basically wearing a hard hat and construction boots, because those are the individuals that make the world go round. Guys don't wear suits and stuff like that when they build buildings. They basically skilled labor is needed. Number 3, trade schools actually pay for you to go to school, and they also pay you to keep your certifications. In other words, when you graduate, there's no student loan debt. So a typical in-state 4-year institution or college in America costs $92,000 a year, and a typical out-of-state college/private college costs $156,000 a year. I actually have a book linked in the description below where I talk about different ways that you can basically pay for college and make it more affordable. But typical in-state college, $92,000 a year. Typical out-of-state college, $156,000 a year. You have to pay for that. Those are student loans you have to pay back. It's not like that in the trade world. In the trade world, in the blue collar and the trade world, there are no student loans. Why? Because the trade halls actually pay you to go to college. In some cases, you actually get paid anywhere from $15 to $20 an hour to go to school, and they pay you at night when you basically are doing your side projects and things of that nature. So imagine going to college basically and getting paid $20 per hour that you're in school in your 4 years, getting your engineering degree or getting your teaching certification or learning your nursing degree or learning your history degree. That's essentially what it's like, people, when you go to trade school. They pay you to go there, and when you graduate with literally no student loan debt. So this is kind of where I want you guys to start thinking in regards to why you should possibly consider a career in the trades world and in the blue collar. If college basically is not for you, and or you don't want to become a cop, a police officer, or become an entrepreneur. Step number 4, and this is one that I really love. Do you realize once you become a master electrician, a master plumber, a master steam fitter, it's extremely easy to start an LLC because you have the skill set to do it? Do you realize that basically once you become a licensed electrician, a licensed plumber, or a licensed steam fitter, you can you're literally never unemployed. Once you start that LLC, you can partner with a licensed engineer and/or licensed engineering firm, and you can easily start a thriving business. So let's say your brother studies electrical engineering and he gets his PE license. And let's say you want to study, become a licensed electrician. Once you two guys merge your knowledge base, you are literally a business entity that is almost unbeatable. Why? Because the best engineering firms work very closely with the best electricians or the best mechanics. And on top of that, another powerful thing about it too is once you become a licensed electrician, plumber, carpenter, elevator operator, or whatever, you can write off everything. You can write off your truck, you can write off your work boots, you can write off basically your tools that you buy. Why? Because you're a business entity buying stuff for your business that you work for. So this is the kind of way I want you guys to start thinking in regards to why you should never look down on the trades. Next, it's extremely easy to get a side hustle and a side job once you learn the trade. Literally everyone has to call a plumber when the toilet breaks down. Everyone has to call an air conditioning company if it's July and your AC breaks. Everyone has to call a boiler, basically an HVAC company, a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company, if your boiler breaks and it's November in Chicago. Everyone needs to know a good electrician once the lights go out, and everyone essentially needs to get in. Who wants to get into real estate? It's a good idea for you to know a handyman or somebody who's very good with the trades. So once you learn a trade, it's very, very easy to get a side hustle. I know HVAC guys who basically can install a 2-ton split system unit, basically an air conditioning unit, in 2 hours, and they basically can charge you in from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on what they need to do. So imagine getting paid $5,000 to $10,000 for 2 hours of work. That's essentially, people, what it is when you learn a trade. It's not always that easy, but seriously, people, once you learn a trade, you're literally never unemployed. Another cool thing about learning a trade, and once you go into the blue collars, step number 6, you can literally cuss your boss out and you'll have a job tomorrow. So I've been on job sites before, and once again, once you learn a trade, you're never unemployed. But I've been on job sites before, right? I have seen guys literally cuss out their bosses, throw punches at them, and the next day they're working for their bosses, their rivals' company. Now, obviously, I'm not a proponent of violence. I think violence is wrong. You should avoid it in most cases. But at the end of the day, people, how many people in corporate America have wanted to cuss out one of their bosses? How many people in corporate America basically have had worked with difficult individuals, and literally they quote unquote had to take it because they know in the corporate America environment, you can get seriously reprimanded for doing things like that. Construction is a little different, people, for better or for worse. Maybe for some people you like that, for some people you don't like that. Once again, I've literally seen guys throw punches at each other on job sites. I've seen guys cuss each other out, and the next day they're literally working for a rival paying them $100,000 a year. So next, step number 7, construction obviously keeps you healthy. For the record, I've done a couple construction jobs myself. I've worked in a couple construction sites. I've been a laborer in a couple summers. And I'll tell it to you like this: you have to be in very good shape pretty much to do that kind of stuff. There is a physical nature to construction that scares a lot of people. And at the end of the day, I have a separate video where I talk about how being obese can seriously hurt your bottom line. And I also have separate videos talk about the importance of being healthy for not just your lifestyle, but for finding a spouse, finding a husband, finding a wife, and things of that nature. But for the sake of this particular video, think of it like this: an electrician, they get paid by the amount of switches that they install. They get paid by the amount of receptacles they install. They get paid by the amount of MC cable that they pull. They get paid based off the amount of panels they can set in one day. Drywall guys, my guys who do drywall, they get paid off the amount of linear feet of drywall they install per day. My sheet metal guys, they get paid off the amount of sheet metal that they can install. So in construction, there's obviously, and in the blue collar world, there's obviously an incentive to be in shape, because the more in shape you are, the more jobs you can put out. Next, step number 8, it's an easy business to transfer from generation to generation. I push generational wealth on this particular channel. I push generational legacy. Why? Because to me, entrepreneurship is the safest way to pretty much guarantee you take advantage of you take full advantage of the American dream. And with when you learn a trade, it's extremely easy to basically pass that business from yourself to your daughter, or from yourself to your son. If your son does not want to go into construction, you can hire him basically as your lawyer. If your daughter wants to go into construction, you can basically teach her the trades and then basically have her in the field working next to you. So construction is a very good ideal business to transfer from one family member to another, generation to another. And another good thing about construction is that reputations are literally built. I've worked for companies and I've worked at engineering firms where this father basically did very good work for an engineering firm. And when the father died, he passed that business on to his son. And just off the reputation alone from that father, the engineering firm will only want to basically work with, and the architects will only want to work with that particular contractor. So it's a good business basically to transfer from person to person. Step number 9, former construction workers make the best engineers, the best lawyers, the best forensic experts, and scientists, and so forth. So I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later, but basically guys, when things break down in the field, engineers don't go to other engineers. They basically go to construction workers. When lawyers are basically trying to figure out what went wrong on a job site, they don't talk to other lawyers. They basically call up a depositions expert who typically has a construction background and says, okay, why did this two-way slab fail? Okay, why did this fire sprinkler system collapse? Okay, why did this structural member collapse, or whatever? So former construction workers, people, you'd be surprised at some of the circles that they find themselves in. And it leads me to my next point. Point number 10, you mingle with some extremely elite, successful people basically when you are in the trades. I've met CEOs that report directly to Bill Gates, basically in my engineering world. And some of the guys that we speak with, they're all in the construction industry. To be exact, 90% of the billionaires I've met on construction sites or in the penthouses and they reside. Why? Because I'm somewhat in that industry as an engineer. Full disclosure, I can't tell you which rappers that I've met. I can't tell you which professional athletes or which professional actresses or whatever, but I have met people who basically can command over $20 to $25 million per film, basically, just off of me being in the industry that I'm in. And if you're in construction and you're very, very good at what you do and you're at the top of the food chain, you'd be flat out shocked at how many construction superintendents and construction managers I've met that have signed jerseys from Kobe Bryant, or they have signed baseball cards from signed baseball cards from Mike Trout, or they have signed basketball cards from Michael Jordan, just because they were in the industries where they actually worked in these people's houses and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, people, you meet some extremely elite people basically when you basically work for these companies. And it's one of those kind of things where it's pretty dope. Point number 11, it gives many people a chance in life where I think made some mistakes. I find this actually be a pretty cool thing about the blue collar and the construction world, where depending on what it is that you actually do, a lot of trades actually offer apprenticeship and rehab programs to former inmates. So I tell a lot of my family members, a lot of my friends who basically have made some mistakes in life, with criminal records, who basically have felonies and things of that nature, that once you get out of prison, or basically once you're doing your stint in prison, learn a trade while you're in prison. If it's possible, when you get out of prison, look up a rehab program or whatever, or look up a union hall that basically takes a certain percentage of inmates, depending on what their crimes are, and teaches them how to be a licensed electrician, a licensed plumber, licensed carpenter. And another thing I don't do on this channel, in my opinion, just because you went to prison, that does not necessarily make you a bad person. I'm gonna keep it basically 100 people. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I have met vastly better reformed inmates that are better human beings than some of the Ivy League educated engineers that I've worked with. I'm gonna say that again. I have met better men that are reformed inmates for horrible crimes or whatever that were incarcerated for nearly a decade, and they are vastly better people and vastly better human beings than some of the Georgia Tech educated, Brown University educated, MIT educated, and mechanical engineers that I've worked with. Just because you basically went to prison does not make you a bad person. And one thing I actually like about the construction industry is a certain level of meritocracy and a certain level of equality that kind of exists in the construction world. If you basically want to work, people don't necessarily care about what you've done in the past. They don't necessarily care about what you did in the last project. If you're a good dude, if you're a good woman, you work hard, you basically make your deadlines, you show up to work, you work your balls off, you basically go hard when you're there. A lot of people don't necessarily care about what you may or may not have done in the past. And that's something I think the white collar world could learn more from, but that's a conversation for another day. Step number 12, you legit are the millionaire next door, and no one has a friggin' clue about how much money you really make. So for instance, you're a top of the food chain lawyer, right? Let's say you are a partner at a law firm. There's a certain kind of car you have to drive. You can't just show up with a hoopty. There's a certain type of house that you have to live in. Why? Because if you're a partner, a senior partner at a law firm or a senior partner at a hospital, you have to live in a certain neighborhood. You have to have a certain type of watch. You have to have a certain type of wedding band. You have to have a certain type of lifestyle. There's a certain type of image you have to maintain, basically, if you are a highfalutin lawyer, a highfalutin engineer, or a highfalutin doctor. In the construction world, you don't have to do that. So for instance, once again, I know guys basically make $1 million per project per year in construction. And these dudes drive a red F-150 pickup truck every day to work. They wear a hard hat, they wear khakis, they wear a polo shirt, and they show up to work every day, work 12 to 14 hours, and then go home. And no one has a clue how much money these guys make. Literally no one. No one knows they have businesses down in Dubai. No one knows they have a property in Costa Rica. No one knows how many fishing boats they have. No one knows how many yachts that they have, because they're the legit millionaire next door. As Americans, we have this stupid idea that basically you can measure a person's money by the kind of car they drive and how they live and how they talk and how they look. Not realizing that same guy you live next to who does construction every day, there's a very good possibility he makes vastly more money and he has less student debt than the guy who lives next to him who went to law school and graduated top of his class. So literally, you are the legit millionaire next door. No one really knows how much you make if you're a licensed electrician, a licensed plumber, a licensed elevator operator, or you hang drywall. Next, step number 13, you are a legit industry expert. I talked about this earlier. When an extremely expensive generator breaks down, electrical engineers, typically speaking, don't talk to other electrical engineers. They talk to the electricians who install them. When a very expensive generator breaks down, mechanical engineers, we don't talk to other mechanical engineers. We show up at the job site at the factories and say, okay, what happened? What's wrong? And we talk to guys that basically who are not college educated half the time and say, okay, this is what we're troubleshooting as engineers. We can't figure it out. What do you guys think is the problem? I'm keeping it completely honest with you people. There's a certain level of skill that you have to develop when you're the one physically installing the ductwork, when you're the one physically building the air handlers, or when you're the ones physically installing the low voltage wire, when you're the ones physically pulling the fire alarm cable. There's a certain level of skill that you have to have that you can't learn in a book. It's kind of like the real world knowledge versus the fake world, the real world knowledge versus the book knowledge. And like I said, you become an industry expert when you basically are in the trades. 14, the skill set that you learn as a blue collar worker, it translates to so many other different types of industries. So for instance, once you age out of construction or whatever, you can easily work for a general contractor. You can become a superintendent. You can easily work for an engineering firm. As a side note of that, literally the legit best engineers I've ever met in my life, they were not Ivy League educated engineers. They were dudes basically that started in construction and then transferred into engineering. You also become a heck of an inspector. The best inspectors I've ever met, they start off as construction workers and they transferred over into the inspection world. The best forensic deposition experts I've ever met / the best lawyers I've ever met that work in the depositions world on buildings, they start off as contractors because they understand the nuts and bolts and basically how everything goes together. Additionally, you can start your own company. So there's so many different industries you can go into once you learn a trade. And I think a lot of times as Americans, I think college is important. I mean, once again, I am an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer. I've been practicing for nearly 20 years. I have an MBA. I can talk finances with the best of them. At the end of the day, people, our country, there's a serious shortage basically of blue collar skilled labor, and never poo-poo on those who basically learn trades, because once you basically learn a trade, you literally are never unemployed. And the last thing I'll talk about is this. You get to basically work in some very, very, very cool and exotic locations once you get nice with the trades or whatever. I've had job offers in Dubai. I've had job offers literally overseas. I know people who basically get job offers all the time to work in tax friendly places like the Bahamas, or tax friendly places like Ibiza, or they get opportunities to go to Spain all the time or whatever. I've had opportunities to work abroad in some extremely remote and very cool places. So in general, people, I want us to kind of change our mindset to blue collar work, because a lot of times we want to poo-poo it, and to me that makes literally no sense. And if you're interested in learning a trade, it's pretty easy. Go to Google, look up your local union halls. If you want to be an electrician, look up local electrical union halls. If you want to be a carpenter, look at the local carpenter union halls. If you want to be a plumber, look at local plumber union halls or whatever. Generally speaking, it's not always as easy, but they typically are looking to hire people because a lot of people don't go into the trades. Typically speaking, electricians, elevator operators, pipe fitters, mechanics, they get paid the most. But in general, people, once you've kind of been a practicing mechanic, or practicing pipe fitter, or practicing plumber, drywall operator, drywall installer, whatever, you can make dang near six figures if you're willing to hoof and you're willing to work. It's a very lucrative field and it keeps you in very good shape. So as I said, people, a lot of YouTubers, for some strange reason, they want to belittle the importance of blue collar dudes. Like a lot of people, a lot of women, they say they have no problem talking to a lawyer. They have no problem talking to a doctor. They have no problem talking to an electrical engineer. But if a guy says I'm a plumber, if a guy says I'm an electrician, people want to look down on that guy. And to me, that's just very stupid. I don't do that on this channel. Period. If you're a blue collar dude, we need more people like you guys. You don't wear a shirt and tie once again to build a 55-story skyscraper in downtown Miami. You basically need hardworking blue collar dudes who wear Dickies, who wear overalls, who show up and they work their balls off every day. So if college is not for you, if being a police officer is not for you, if joining the Marines is not for you, there's nothing wrong with basically learning a trade. And if you make some mistakes in your life, honestly, trade school is a route that I would tell you to go or whatever. So with that, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this channel. A lot of times I'll talk about Roth IRAs. A lot of times I'll talk about FSAs. A lot of times I'll talk about starting businesses. A lot of times I talk about real estate on this channel. But in general, people, I think we need to start putting more time as well as into the trades, because from my experience of working as an engineer and the industries and the jobs that I've worked in or whatever, from being a depositions expert to being a design engineer to doing inspections, to building billion-dollar buildings and things like that for some of the wealthiest people in the world. Trades are one of the blue collar, and learning trades are some of the most overlooked and underappreciated industries in America. And that's how you build America. So with that, everybody, it's your boy Chris. Once again, this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. Please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel. Check out my book below in regards to how to make college more affordable. And once again, if college is not for you, you seriously should look into learning a trade, because you won't regret the ride. I promise you. With that, everybody, it's your boy Chris. I'm out. Peace.